As soon as I finish editing my video, I find some news on Survarium. So I'm going to cover that. The Survarium dev team have released a much promised update on the current state of the game and where it's headed. They do give some information into free play and talk about a bunch of other things too regarding PvP and a bunch of other stuff. So in the second paragraph, they are talking about how they set themselves a very ambitious goal of designing themselves a very large MMO FPS. And they talk a little bit about what's in the game. At the end of the paragraph, they mention that they started with team play mode or PvP as the basis of the game. This was not a bad idea because it gives them time to work on and develop their engine up until they get to the point where it is ready for further development, say into PvE, so free play. And that is exactly what they did. The next paragraph, they talk about what they've done with PvP so far, adding game modes, maps, weapons, factions, gear, and they also state that PvP mode at this point is about 80% complete. So it's getting close. The next paragraph talks about improvements that they want to release in the upcoming patches, which in fact many of these I already knew about. And they are new navigation mesh, network synchronization, a better anti-cheat system, and graphics render optimization. And at the very end of the paragraph they state that these changes will all be coming within the next few months. So in the next paragraph, they answer the question, why is development taking so long for this game? And as it turns out, I speculated about it and I was completely right. A big factor is development costs. And, well, they don't make much money. They have a small team as well. They decided to focus more on the technical side of things, which was like developing the engine and fixing many of the gameplay problems. And it seems that that was a very large task for them. But seeing as how they're coming to a close with all of that, maybe we'll start seeing some more free play footage here soon. In my opinion, with the resources that they have and with the amount of people that they have, they've done a very good job. And the next section of their dev diary here talks about where Survarium was compared to October 2015 and now. And from what they are saying here, at least in the first paragraph, is that the number of players online has doubled and they are earning a bit more income from the game at this point. But unfortunately, it's still not enough to ramp up development as fast as they want to. They do want to start incorporating PvP elements within, hopefully within this year, but with their current resources that they have right now and their income, free play is simply not going to be something viable within the next few months or within this year, which I completely understand. Developing a game is hard work, and when you don't have a large team, things go slow, period. The next paragraph goes into progress on free play itself. To sum it up, basically it's still in the concept stage. They say that there's been some preliminary technical tests, so their base ideas, basically, they have been tested, they're saying. But they're being honest and saying that they really don't have anything substantial to show us right now. I'm a little surprised by this, but at the same time, it makes sense. They've been working on their engine, they've been working on PvP. Those things are actually quite important right now. That engine is the most important thing, and when they get that working properly, and PvP is a perfect testing ground for it, when they get those things working properly, then free play can come next. So after that paragraph, then they go on to define the things that they want to do in the next 12 months. And they split it into 3 categories: technical improvements, PvP elements, and PvE elements. So let's talk about the technical innovations. They want to improve on the graphics render. They want to add this new character controller and navigation mesh. Now the character controller will make movement in the game smoother. The navigation mesh is for NPCs. In the next section, for PvP, they want to add 1 to 2 more game modes, a new map, global map mode, which is for clan battles, which I'm really not sure what that is. Perhaps bigger maps, perhaps connected maps. From what I read here, I do understand that it's going to include NPCs and co-op. They want to add a proper system of player rankings. They want to introduce their remaining skill trees and add new weapons and gear. For PvE elements, they're going to be adding NPCs, so I did mention that before, but this is where it was really meant for. It's meant for PvE. They do say that this list may expand from what they have here. If you guys are following Survarium, be sure to keep a close eye on news and these developer diaries. So to summarize this whole developer diary, basically Basically, they're saying development is slow. We are sorry that we don't have any more free play information for you. Because we are such a small team and we have low funds, things have been going a lot slower than we initially planned them to. But we are now getting close to the point where we can move past PvP and start looking into more PvE and start developing free play. I'll state it again, given the resources and the size of the team that they have, Vostok has done a fantastic job with this game so far. I think people really continue to miss the point of just how hard it is to develop a game, just how hard it is to develop an engine from the ground up. People continue to forget that this game is not even close to done yet, and we are the playtesters. Now, the developer diary, the information coming from this doesn't just stop here. They have actually opened the comment section, and I'm going to scroll through it and find all the really valid and useful information for you guys and give it to you here. Okay, so all of these posts are coming directly from the developer diary itself, and Joe Wilburn himself responded to each one of these. First question was, how do you mean exactly you don't have enough resources for free play development? And Joe replied, the size of our team. If we were a AAA studio, we would have much larger workforce. As we are a small indie studio, our capacity for expanding our team is not as easy as we would like. This is completely understandable. They're developing a game that looks like a AAA title. These are some very talented people, but talented work takes a lot of time. I will state that with the coming new features, such as co-op, hopefully we'll be able to see more players coming in, more attention to the game, and perhaps that means more money for them so that they can hire more people, therefore bringing us free play faster. This is another reason why I want to do this positive, informative series, because it brings attention to this game. Next person wrote, what about the expectations from 2014 and 2015? And Joe wrote, this is the reason why we stopped posting development timelines on the game website, to avoid a case where something is expected at a specific time. This is why we cannot give concrete dates as to when new feature can be expected. Again, this is completely understandable. From a small team, you can never really set dates because sometimes things just don't work out right. Next question came from the same post. If I am incorrect, please correct me and try to explain how and why we came to this exact point in terms of development and communication. And Joe replied, we chose rather not to speak about PvE and create expectations. However, we have realized that an approach like that causes confusion and misunderstanding. So as the diary states above, we will now be doing our best to communicate the state of development on a more regular basis. And boy, did it ever cause a state of confusion. It had people left and right claiming all these crazy things like Vostok doesn't care, or they're not doing anything, or they're taking the money and running, which I knew personally that it wasn't true. Everything that has been discussed in the dev diary, except for one or two things, and what they're saying now, are things that I completely speculated and I was right about. The only thing that I was not right about was the actual development of free play. I thought that they were a little bit further along, but as it turns out, they're not. The next person wrote, this is, in my opinion, something that should have been shared with us back in 2014. And Joe wrote, perhaps you are correct, but let's look to the future. What has happened previously cannot be changed, and we can only do our best going forward. It takes a lot of balls to admit that you did something wrong. He did kind of try to brush this one off, though, but hopefully they learn their lesson, and they will continue to try and give us more communication in the future. So there was a couple of people in the comments complaining about how long it's taking to develop. 3 years to bring free play this close to just concept stage, to which Joe makes a very valid point here. Just a quick reference on how complicated game development can be. Stalker took over 7 years to develop, and you know why? Because they started from scratch. They built a game engine from start to finish and built the game on top of it while they were going. You can go back and look at all their development builds, which is really cool to see. But at the same time, holy crap, is it completely different from one build to the next. They did also have some problems with their publisher as well, trying to make changes on them, which they were forced to do, which further delayed the development of that game. So yeah, that's a very, very valid comparison. These next ones are a couple of quick questions from somebody on the forums. First one is the current engine a modification of the X-Ray engine? And Joe says no, it's our own new developed engine, which I would prefer that they use something else. X-Ray's a bitch to work with. The second question is referring to Clan Wars and specifically the maps, if they're really open or if they're more closed and linear. Are the global maps like Far Cry or little map like Kingdom Come Deliverance? And Joe says we cannot state at this point. Probably still in concept phase for that one as well, or testing. The last comment that I plucked out of here once again reiterates just how important it is to have a large team to develop a game quickly. And this person stated, well, Bethesda has over 100 people in their team but still have made great big titles every 4 years. To which Joe replied, over 100 people on one game with budgets of millions. Don't forget that. So again, remember, Vostok is a small studio. If I'm correct, they have only like 10 to 15 people. I don't know exact numbers. They're a tiny team in comparison to Bethesda, and they don't have money. Basically, all the money that they've made is coming from Survarium. Alright, that just about wraps up all the information that I can find on this developer diary. If something else pops up, I'll be sure to post it on the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'm King Friday. Have a good day.